Hello, welcome to another episode of Clues, Cues and Reviews, and today we're looking at Fairy Tale 498. An interesting chapter, sorry about the delay, like the other video. If you haven't seen it, 7 Deadly Sins, it's in my playlist below, so do check that out. I've had a busy day, unfortunately I've not been able to do this earlier, but thank you very much for your patience, and let's get into it. So, I just want to state that there's a lot of hate when it comes to Fairy Tale in general, and the fact that it's got this far, nearly 500 chapter into the series, 498 right now, it's showing you that this, even though it gets a lot of grief, I guess, it still has enough of a following to continue, and I really hope one day in the future we get an anime again for season 3. So it's getting to a point with this arc where things need to get tied up a little bit, and this chapter is gearing towards that. And it sets off a little few clues about things that are going to happen. So we'll get into that now. Without further ado, let's get into this 5-point review. So the first point is really about Gray's struggle. And it's shown in this chapter, but it's also symbolic of his journey. So there's always hurdles in life he's always had to overcome. So he's had the issue with Deliora, with Ul. He had the situation with the demons, his father, demon slayer magic. He's always had to overcome something, even in a previous battle. In this arc, taking on his master again, he always had to overcome something, and this battle shows. So when he starts using his ice molding magic, he can't really do what he wants to do, and Invel is like, I'm the Don, I'm the king of ice and winter, you can't do nothing to me, until he goes to demon slayer mode, which basically catches Invel's attention and damages Invel. So it's symbolic of his growth, but this obstacle has to be overcome by more growth. And a situation like that, sometimes it is really squeaky boom time, like they say, and you've got to get cornered, you've got to come out and show even more of what you're about. How he's going to go about that is interesting, but the fact that he can damage Invel to a certain degree is important, and hopefully we'll see that in the next chapter. That's point number 1. Point number 2, we find out the drawback that is Demon Slayer magic. The more you consume and use it, the more it consumes your soul and you lose your sanity. Now this is an important dynamic, because you find out later on in the chapter about this, but this could kind of flip the dynamic potentially people have been thinking about on its head. So we've always had the idea that if he's there to destroy End and Natsu is End or END, what if Natsu becomes bad and Gray has to take his life? But if there's a chance of him losing his sanity, could the flip side also be the case, where Gray loses his mind and Natsu has to go take him down? We had glimpses of this. Maybe that was foreshadow when we had the return after the time skip, where Gray was with the that fodder crew that really wasn't all special, and that would kind of jinxed and nixed very quickly. But what if that was foreshadow, or potentially a flip around where Gray loses his sanity and Natsu has to stop him? I'm just saying it's a possibility. That's point number 2. So Invel starts to take this a little bit more seriously, and he does go to Blizzard mode, which is like an attack on a mass scale. It's much like a lot of other Spriggan, I guess, because if you look at the other Spriggan, Ajil had this mass sandstorm, Eileen had the ability to change the world, she shrunk Denrajima to attach to the island, Magnolia was made a lot smaller, Fiore, whichever one it is, Brandish can change the size of complete islands, and I'm sure there's many others out there. August is next level. So the fact that he's gone Blizzard mode shows why he's in the Spriggan 12, and it's interesting that even later on in this chapter, Invel's talking about how he needs to be the one that takes down END and not the master or Zeref in this case. Could this be a foreshadow that Zeref is going to die and maybe Natsu's going to live, and we still have to see that fight? Maybe, we don't really know, we'll have to wait and see, but interesting to speculate about some theories like that, right? But that's point number 3. Now point number 4 is interesting and very short-lived. Natsu returns and he's melted the ice that initially encapsulated him, throws him out, and it's the same for Juvia, Lucy, Happy. Before they can really get excited, they get taken away by Brandish, leaving Juvia, but taking away the other 3. Now you're probably thinking, oh, why is Brandish got involved in the fight? I know from some readers' point of views that may be new to the series, they may not see it coming, but the idea is to split Grey and Natsu. This also sets up probably a plot point down the line, a plot device down the line, where Natsu can fight somebody else while this issue is being resolved. And I guess what it does do is separate the idea that if Grey finds out that Natsu is END, he's not in close proximity to deal with him. The idea also about being unfrozen kind of goes back to the Tartarus arc, where he got frozen by Silver and he got frozen cold. This shows his improvement because he's now able to defrost himself basically and not have to rely on other people to do that or not have to be saved. So I like the idea that not only this, the idea of Natsu's evolution to a certain degree, that the same thing won't work on him, but the further plot point of END potentially versus Grey has been separated for now, and potentially big fights for Natsu in the future. It also shows that Brandish still has the good side to her, and potentially the idea that she may already know about the whole END situation and she's looking to avert it by making this action. But yeah, that's point number 4. Point number 5, probably the worst thing of this, I guess, and it really was like a new low for Grey, mainly because he's completely joined up to the hip now practically to Juvia, and the fact that one has to die to ultimately release the binding. So Invel says might not be the case. He is after all the bad guy, and he also states that once someone kills, they really get into the darkness, I guess. They really go to the dark side. I don't know if he's got, he's a fan of Star Wars or something like that, because he really wants to turn Grey into Darth Vader by the looks of it. I'm not sure he's going to turn around and go to Natsu that's saying that he's his father or anything, but you get the point. Also, there's the idea that, obviously he doesn't want to hurt Juvia, and Juvia's in love with him, and she's not going to want to hurt him either. But it's interesting to see how they're going to deal with that, and I'm hoping what this does is really kind of overcomes that hurdle, because they've kind of, we've been, as readers, we've been thinking, will they, won't they, will they get together? Hero doesn't really kind of touch on the romance too much, but it'd be good to see, right, from a character standpoint. And I'm guessing this is going to be one of those experiences that's going to take them over the hurdle. I don't want either of them to die, but I want them to work together. Maybe a unison raid, maybe something like that, to take out Invel. And I'm pretty sure they can do it. I'm looking forward to it, and let's hope this, they can use this to go to that next level. So an interesting way to end the chapter. The next chapter is Grey and Juvia, so we are going to get a lot more detail into that, and I'm pretty sure they'll probably explain the whole Brandish situation as well. Interesting ending to the chapter, quite a deep chapter, not as much action as I'd like, but I understand these things have to happen in order for the story to progress. So I'm looking forward to the outcome of this battle. Hopefully Grey can kick his ass very soon, and hopefully we can move on to more action. As always, thank you very much for watching this video. If you enjoyed the chapter, give me a thumbs up and let me know about anything you enjoyed about my review in the comment section below. If you haven't already, please subscribe. I greatly appreciate this, and continue to show me your support, and I'll see you next time. Peace.